Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's question has 3 answers, and you're going to want to stick around because the third answer is going to tell you why this whole Amazon issue is the wrong question in the first place. So let's get into it. The question that was sent in to me today was, is self-publishing books through Amazon a good idea? And the person who asked this question is wondering because, well, there's a whole series of reasons you might be wondering. Maybe because you're wondering, am I going to make more money on Amazon? Or maybe Amazon's a terrible location to put your books, that their royalties, that they take too much of a percent. But there's another reason that some people wonder a little bit. It's because Amazon has been accused of being a monopoly, having too much control over the sale of books. Major traditional publishers have found it difficult to compete with what is going on Amazon, where they control the prices and they control the distribution channels, and that makes it difficult. So from an ethical standpoint, there can be a little bit of hesitation of wondering, maybe you shouldn't be going with Amazon in the first place. And this is just a little bit of what I'm hoping that we will be able to answer today. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. Hit the subscribe button if you would like for me to make more videos like this one, and check out below in the description to find my absolutely free self-publishing checklist to help you get started with your self-publishing and make sure you are not making the mistakes that so many, maybe the majority of self-publishers make. So let's get into it. Supporting a monopoly? Well, when I first got started with self-publishing, I wanted to get as many sales as possible. So I wasn't really worried about who I was pushing my books through to, but that they were making sales. I chose personally to go with Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, Amazon KDP, when I first got started publishing. And I started putting my books out onto the market, my very first ones, and I really wasn't seeing that many sales. The other thing I found that was a problem with Amazon, though I'll give you, it's a bit of a secret that it's true with everybody else, it's that it can be confusing to what to do with those royalties that are coming in. You're getting tax forms and all sorts of stuff that's very confusing. And you start wondering, is the government going to start coming after me because am I paying the right taxes? And all of the rules and forms make things very, very complicated. This is especially true with Amazon, and this is one of the downsides of Amazon, is that for all of the different regions, they don't just pull the money together, take out whatever, and then send you the money. They rather send you individual little payments from, a few dollars or a few whatever's from Mexico or from this area or from that area. Japan sends you 10 cents, these sorts of things. And that creates a lot of confusion upon how are we supposed to handle all of this information. And that can make it very difficult, that maybe it's not worth going with Amazon. It may be better to go with something a little bit simpler. But then an expert guide came and pointed out that I was completely misunderstanding how the game is to be played. When the money is really low on most countries, the taxes really aren't kicking in at that point. But once the money starts to go up, you now have the resources to hire an accountant. And what you want to do is you want to find an accountant who can do online accounting. You don't have to meet with the person, all this sort of stuff. You want to find somebody who's got a good reputation that other freelancers and such are going to, and they say that they understand the Amazon business and how this taxing works, so that all of the covering of all the expenses and you gathering all of the receipts, that they're able to put it into the book, and that when they're doing that and following it all up on your balance sheets and such, that it's able to easily report in to the tax authorities to make sure that you don't have a problem at the end of the year. And I took their advice and I did exactly that. And my accountants were also able to help correct some of the problems that I was having with the accounting, because obviously I'm not an expert on accounting. And so I was dependent upon them to also help me out when it came to the whole accounting and what is the best practices for the following up and which receipts I need and what is too much tracking versus too little, and how can I most easily do this based upon the bank accounts where the money's coming into. And even these restrictions have gotten higher because of whitewashing that's been going on globally, so it makes it a lot harder that the counting has to be perfect. But even if it's not exactly perfect, generally you're not going to have a problem. They understand most people really don't follow it exactly right. So if you have an accountant, you're already going to be ahead to make sure that you're doing it right. And I've never had any problems with different tax authorities in Norway or the United States because I report and I pay my taxes. I pay my fair share with regards to the taxes that are due on the royalties that I earn. And I used my accountants to make sure that it's all perfect. So there will not be a need to really audit me or anything like that, because I will have the stuff that's in place. And the final thing is that what I discovered was then I could expand into additional markets, additional websites that would do the distribution in order to make even more money. And then I have the accountants in order to do that. And I should say that on this monopoly front, I really didn't allow it to get into my head too much. And the reason for that is because I began to realize that when you're getting started, you really don't have the ability to change the whole planet. You have options that are available, and those distribution channels like Amazon have so many customers that are there that the customers sort of define where you're going. If you're making billions of dollars through your self-publishing, then maybe you should consider going with a different distributor if it really matters that much to you. But ultimately, it's the consumers who are going to determine that, and you simply having your little storefront on Amazon is not going to change much of anything. So if your book or two are placed out there, it's not going to really tip Amazon one way or the other. And we have to realize that consumers, they like to go to the places where the best deals are. So if you have one website that's giving insanely good deals compared to everybody else, like with Amazon Prime and all of these other things, then it's difficult for everybody to compete with them. So I don't know if I would call it monopolistic practices. I would just say they've created a huge opportunity for small business owners to expand their reach simply by using the existing website and the amazing platform that they have built, regardless of whether you really like Amazon itself or not. And that's something you need to think about. So when you're feeling like, oh, I really feel bad about going with Amazon, I would suggest take a step back and realize that it's not going to make that much of a difference for them one way or the other what you do with them, but it's not unethical to go with them. Go with the big guy. And maybe when somebody else takes over, let's say Google Books were to be bigger than them, then going with Google Books will not be a problem. So we don't have to feel conscientious about that particular aspect of it. So here it is. So is self-publishing books through Amazon a good idea? The first answer is yes. They are the biggest. There's nobody bigger than they are. They're easy to publish with. If you break the steps down, I found overwhelm in the beginning and the pain associated with that. I don't know if you do. You should let me know. But otherwise, I did feel that. But then I realized the other sites are even more complicated in terms of the whole process. And so Amazon is the winner there. It costs nothing to put your books onto Amazon, so you should definitely think about that. They supply the ISBN numbers and all these other codes and things that you don't even have to think about. It's automatically done for you. So this is something that should be part of your decision-making process when you're putting your videos onto, or your books onto Amazon. And the next is, as I mentioned earlier, they have the largest customer base, so that you're not going to be losing sales just because you went with Amazon or went with some smaller distributor who nobody's heard of. And so Amazon at a minimum is the important part. But let's get to the secret answer of today. And this is the answer you've been sticking around for. And thank you for that. It's that you will leave a ton of money on the table if you stop with Amazon. So that's why is going with Amazon a good idea, a bad question? Of course, Amazon is a good idea, but you should not stop with them, because you should be putting out your ebooks through Smashwords, which gets an even bigger distribution channel. You should go with Ingram Spark, both for their paperbacks and also their ebooks if you have a way of getting cheap ISBN numbers, and Lulu for your hardbacks. And you get a free ISBNs, and you only have to pay if you wish to get Lulu's, you want to pay for a proof copy that you would be doing through Lulu for your hardback books. So that's a little bit of the constellation of distribution outlets that I would be doing for, and I hope that clarified a little bit about the question of whether Amazon is good for you. Well, tell me, have you hesitated with going with Amazon? If you found it difficult and you've hesitated a little bit, write the word yes below in the comments. And if it's been easy from the beginning, you knew Amazon was going to be right for you, and it was right for you, write the word no down in the comments. I would really want to hear. I need to know from you your input on this one. And check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.